Hey everyone, welcome to The Drop. This is the official podcast of ComicDrops.com, and today we have a very special episode. We will be reviewing Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice in its entirety. I'm very excited for this. Before we start, I just want to explain real quickly how this is going to work. The first portion of the review will be spoiler free. That way you can hear our honest thoughts about the movie without us spoiling major plot points and like key things. And then once we're done with that, we're going to dive into the meat and potatoes of the film, discussing key plot points, the ending, and that's why I said meat and potatoes. The ending and like everything in between. Basically, we're also going to have timestamps in the description. That way you can jump around and, I guess, listen to which one do you want to. Alright, now that I've gotten that out the way, I want to introduce my other co-host with me today. First up is Andrew Lilly. How you doing, man? And how was that event you went to?
Oh, C2E2?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Comic book lovers like myself, it's like paradise for us. So, yeah, it was a great event.
Nice. And of course, since this is a special episode, we have to have special guests, and I have two with me today. First up is Casey Crow. Casey, how you doing, man? Glad to have you on.
Thanks, man. It's glad to be back in the groove doing this.
Yeah.
It's been interesting this week on Twitter, and just seeing the world respond to one little movie.
Yep. It's been like a madhouse on like all social media. Jeez. People getting blocked left and right, all that good stuff.
We hate the critics. Right. We hate them.
No, we
don't. And of course, last but certainly not least, we have YouTuber and all-around Batman fan, my buddy Caboose XBL. Caboose, how are you doing, man? Thanks for joining us today.
I am doing just swell, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Just doing quite peachy. All right, so I guess we can just dive right into it. We have a lot to talk about. There's obviously this Batman v Superman is a highly anticipated movie. It's been 3 years in the making. Of course, it got delayed from 2015 to 2016, so I guess they could flesh out more story details and kind of just make Dawn of Justice kind of like the platform for the rest of the DC cinematic universe. So Andrew, we will start with you. What was your spoiler-free opinion of Batman v Superman?
I really liked it. As you know, I wasn't the biggest fan of Man of Steel, so kind of going in here, I was a little skeptical, excited but skeptical. But I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun film, and DC fans will just love it.
Nice. You have like a favorite part of the movie that you can say?
Highlight character?
Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck as Batman.
Ben Affleck.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Don't want to spoil anything. Yet.
Caboose, what about you, man?
Absolutely, I enjoyed the movie. I mean, it was a blast, especially the first time that I got to see it was during the fan screening, and just the atmosphere, being around all these people that are just as big as a fan of this movie and these characters as I am. It was just so much fun. In terms of a favorite moment, I can't really talk about it, so I guess I'll mention it when we come to the spoiler part.
All right, Casey, what about you, man?
Okay, so going into this movie, it got announced, 2014 Comic-Con, or was it 13?
13, yeah, 13.
That was after the summer, which was Man of Steel in, July or June?
I think so, yeah. Was it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought Man of Steel came out in 2012.
No, it was 13.
Yeah, did it come out in
2013?
It was 2013, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we've been... people like me have been waiting for this movie for 2 years, but I know there's people that have read those comics ever since Frank Miller kind of put Batman on his side and let it spin with The Dark Knight Returns and gave us the new Batman we kind of all love and know today. I was excited. I've been excited for so long, and I want to say thank you to Warner Brothers for that Monday screening, because putting the fans before I guess the press was a very nice move, considering we went to the IMAX event last year, and it really pleased me for them to put the fans first. But
agreed.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
So going in, I was expecting something great. I loved Man of Steel. I know it has problems and issues, and I agree with most of those issues and negative things people have against it. But for whatever reason, those do not outweigh the positives for me. The positives far outweigh majority of any of those negatives, and I kind of look past those. I don't look past them, but they don't affect it as an overall film for me. Ben Affleck casting, I was not on board since day one, and I am very much on board now. But you know what? It was a fun film, very entertaining. It's definitely something you should see in IMAX, 2D if you can.
Oh, yes.
Definitely, yes.
Especially considering some of the scenes were filmed in IMAX, and those scenes alone. But I think people are going to have a lot of fun. It's going to make plenty of money. It's going to be interesting just to see how much more this divides people in the line, because the fact that everybody's talking about it, I think overall is just a great push for people to want to go see it. Despite everybody saying, you know, they're not for sure if they want to go see it, but people are going to see this movie regardless.
Definitely. Me, I really liked it. I liked it more the second time I saw it. I saw it Tuesday at the press screening. And actually, before I even say anything about whether me liking the movie, I just want to say, like, if you think you're going to be interested in the movie, like, go see it. No one can tell you what you like. So, like, you know, all critics aside, you know, if you think you're going to enjoy the movie, definitely go see it. Don't let someone try to form your opinion for you. So I just want to get that away, because I've seen a lot of people kind of just saying, oh, well, I've heard the movie's bad, so I'm not going to go see it. And even though they've been interested in the movie ever since it was announced. You know?
And from what I can tell from the early tracking on the box office is that they didn't care what the critics had to say. It seems like it's still going to do very, very well. We're just going to have to wait and see what it does in its second week, because I'm sure the first week it's going to really do some good box office numbers.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I really liked the movie the second time that I saw it even more. When I first saw it on IMAX, maybe it was because where I was sitting, I was kind of close to the screen. I wasn't like in like the neck breakers where you have to like stare up and be like, hey man, watch that side of the screen, and then I watch this side of the screen. I wasn't that close, but I was close enough to the point where everything was kind of like in my face and I didn't really know what was going on. I knew what I was watching, but it was really hard for me to kind of just piece everything together, and I think that's why I had an issue with like the pacing in the beginning, some of the editing.
Yep.
And then another thing that I guess we'll get to when we get to the spoiler portion. But overall, the movie was really good. I really enjoyed the characters. I like how they built more on the ending of Man of Steel, because we know how everybody was like, oh, you know, Superman destroyed Metropolis and all this stuff, and it was very much how it was in real life. The fans were divided whether or not Superman was portrayed correctly as a hero, or they made him seem like some serial killer or whatever, or what have you. And I really like how they showed like how he was struggling with the way the people viewed him. You know, people viewed him as a menace or a hero, and I really like that they kind of just they made that a key part of the movie. So I really enjoyed that. Just like you guys, I was uber pissed off when they cast Ben Affleck as Batman.
Oh, I was not among that. Don't put me in that category.
My bad. My bad.
You can put me there.
I was very ignorant,
right.
and I was not very well aware of his current films and what he's done in the past 5 years. I was not up to standards with that. I was very far behind.
Neither was I.
I think what I find most crazy is that, like, all these people are saying these incredibly negative things about Batman v Superman, but one thing that almost every single person, whether they didn't like the movie or they loved it, has collectively agreed that Ben Affleck was a good Batman. The one thing people were worrying about the most when that casting was announced, now all agree that he was so good in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And he really was the best. He was one of the best parts of the movie for me. I liked how he portrayed this older, grizzled, just like veteran Batman who's lost a lot of people. He's lost a Robin. He's probably lost a Batgirl at some point, and you know, and who knows how many other people. I mean, even Catwoman. We haven't, you know, obviously we don't know much about this Batman because this isn't his film. But from what we saw, this was the Batman that I was waiting for ever since, like, because I'm a huge fan of the Batman animated series, and I like that more like detective, just kind of just really cool. Like Ben Affleck was a really cool Batman, and I like that. The fighting style was straight out of the Arkham games, him flipping around and like punching dudes in the neck and throwing them in the walls and stuff like that. So I really
You
enjoyed.
get
I really enjoyed.
Batmobile action too.
Yeah,
I
a
liked
lot.
A lot.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's my favorite on-screen Batmobile
For sure.
next to Keaton's.
I don't know if this is not a spoiler, but I think just for the sake of anybody going to see the movie and you're listening to this, as far as I'm concerned, because I've seen the movie twice, there isn't a post-credit scene.
Yeah,
no.
I didn't see one.
Because we
Yeah,
sat there after the money screening, and I was the only person that got up and started walking away. I was like, there's not going to be one. I just know there's not. And there wasn't one. Everybody's like moaning and like, oh, are you serious? Like, I was like, I didn't expect one, and I don't think people should either, even though, Marvel started that little trend, tell the movie in the movie, and afterwards, don't tell the movie anymore.
Exactly. Pretty much the movie, not to spoil anything, but the movie didn't have anything else to throw in after the credits. Everything they wanted to put in the movie was in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's not a tag at Marvel. We love those little post-credit scenes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I stayed after I saw it again yesterday. I stayed because I was like, okay, maybe they don't have it in like the press and fan screenings because they don't want that really key portion of the credits to come out. Obviously, there was nothing. So once the credits start rolling, you can get up and go. There's nothing there. Gal Gadot, or is it Gal Gadot? I think it's Gal Gadot, right? Somebody help me out here.
Please? Yeah, that's right.
I think it's Gal Gadot. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know.
Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, she did a fantastic job. She wasn't given a whole lot. She doesn't have like this super intricate like portion in like the plot of the film. But when she shows up, I got like super happy. I like perked up in my seat. I was like, sweet, you get like Wonder Woman action, and she was really good. She was badass. She was mysterious. She was a hell of a fighter. And
she was a warrior, man. She was a freaking warrior. It was so good. I mean, listen, for me, the two shining moments of this film were Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. And I think I speak for everyone for when Gal Gadot shows up as Wonder Woman, the crowd went nuts, especially at the fan screening, even at the press screening where it's just a bunch of people who are like a little more quiet and reserved because they're there to just review the film. They even started applauding when Wonder Woman showed up on screen. So she made a damn good impact in the film.
Definitely. And I'll be honest, I wasn't like super amped up about the Wonder Woman film, but after seeing Batman v Superman, I now cannot wait for that movie. I feel like that movie is going to be really good.
Comes out next year.
Yep. We actually might be getting a third DC movie next year. Because didn't WB just like announce an Untitled movie for 2017?
For 2017, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. People think that might be a Batman movie. I don't know because they're getting ready to start filming Justice League and Batman's in that. So I don't think that they're gonna try to cram too much into Ben's schedule. 'Cause I think he's also filming another movie right now. Before.
Yeah, I think he's directing one currently.
Yeah, so I don't think that's a Batman movie. But hey, anything's possible. If it is a Batman movie, I'll be like the first dude in line because
I think he's finishing production on his movie Live by Night.
Yeah, that's the movie. That's the movie he's doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But can we dive into this already?
I'm almost done, man.
If they want,
I'm sweating. My palms are sweating.
Sweaty. But I just want to. I'm gonna cover this last thing and then we can talk about spoilers. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Oh my gosh,
He was so good.
I really liked his interpretation of Lex. And honestly, I was one of those people who was kind of on the fence where I was just like, okay, Jesse Eisenberg is a good actor. But when it comes to portraying a character as huge and as iconic as Lex Luthor, I don't know if he's ready for that. And because I was like, oh, he didn't look the part. And I was one of those people who was like, oh, he didn't look the part. Or he doesn't, I don't think he can't be like scary. But the way he portrayed him as like this, I don't know. It's really hard to put into words how he portrayed the character, but it was something unique that I was like every single time he was on screen, I was looking forward to like what he's gonna say next because he was he was witty, he was smart, he was diabolical, he was arrogant.
Despicable.
That's
he did
the word
some
I'm looking
things
for.
in this movie that is just downright messed up, and it was perfect. He needed to make a stamp on this franchise because this is a character that's probably not going to go away in the DC Cinematic Universe for at least, beyond Justice League Part 2. He's probably going to stick around until then. So he needed to make a stamp. He needed to make, his mark in the DC Cinematic Universe, and I think he did damn well with that in this film.
I wonder why he'll stick around. Wink, wink.
But like you said, I definitely think we haven't seen the last of him, because even in the comics, he's known as like the guy who's behind the scenes, kind of pulling the strings. That's basically how, I don't want to spoil it. Spoiler alert for Young Justice. Lex Luthor was kind of like the man behind like most of like the happenings in the I think it was season 1. But yeah, Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor, in my opinion, he stole the show. I'm excited to see more of him. I hope we see more of him. And that's our spoiler-free version of the movie. Are you guys ready?
Oh,
okay. Do we want to start with some negatives, or do we start with positives?
Are we jumping into the spoilers?
This is spoiler territory now.
Right. So we should cover some negatives, cover our positives, and just cover all overall as a film what we think.
All right. Caboose, we will start with you.
Okay, so we're going negatives and positives, or positives and negatives?
We'll do negatives.
Let's all do negatives, and then we'll all do
positives. Okay. So in terms of negatives for me, you mentioned it earlier, Josh. The first 20 to 25 minutes of the film, the pacing is like really, really off. Like it's all over the place, and the editing is just so wonky and not good. Like it'll go something not going on with the scene, cut to black, completely new scene in a completely different area, cut to black, completely new scene. It was just all over the place in the first 20 to 25 minutes, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Please just get the pacing in order here. And after those 25 minutes do, get out of the way, everything does smoothen out, and the movie is paced well. But yeah, it takes a while to get into this movie. So yeah, I thought that was a little annoying. And another thing, since we're in the spoiler territory, that really bugged me, and I'm sure it's probably going to be on your negatives as well.
Oh, yes.
Batman is like a stone cold killer in this movie.
Oh, actually, never mind. That's not my negative.
No? Oh, well, it is for me. Okay, on my first viewing, it was really starting to bug me. Like, there was moments where he was like, he's flipping cars onto people. He's blowing up cars, just deliberately murdering people. And it was taking me out of the movie. I was sitting there, I was watching, I was like, whoa, Batman is just killing people. And, like, I was just being sucked out of the movie. So I really wasn't a fan of it. However, on my second viewing, there was one line that really stuck with me that kind of helped put me at ease, I'd say, as to Batman killing, and that's Alfred's line about the feeling of powerlessness. Like his whole speech to Bruce Wayne about the idea of Superman coming down to Earth now and how the whole world has changed, because now that speaks to me that basically Bruce saw Superman come to Earth and just cause havoc. But, he's this god. So Batman's like, okay, so technically I'm not the most powerful person in the world right now. I think I need to get a little more ruthless so that people can fear me. Like, it was almost like, I guess, this realization to Bruce that, there's someone out there who's bigger, badder, and stronger than him. And, I don't know, maybe that dug away at him or something. But yeah, Alfred's line, the "that's how it starts" line, it made a lot more sense on my second viewing, but I don't know. I don't really agree with Batman being a killer in this movie. So that's my negatives.
Okay. Casey?
Oh, boy. Okay, so I just want to say I enjoyed this film. It was fun. It's good. Not great. I like it. I don't love it, sadly. Which bums... Listen, I was so bummed out when I walked out because I wanted to love this movie. Right. I think a lot of people did, and a lot of people aren't going to, because we expected so much, and we got a lot. But I'm just going to start. Here we go. Good Lord. So I definitely want to add on top of that what you said, Caboose, about the editing. Is the first thing I walked out. I got in the car with my buddy. I said, "Dude, that editing." He's like, "It was so good." I was like, "No." I was like, "I'm not praising it. Like, the editing was not 100%." And this is what happened, and this is really what happened in the theater. And I know there was parts like you were talking about, Caboose, but one part specifically that took me out of the movie, and I literally sat up out of my chair looking at the audience, wondering if they were going to go back because the movie had just skipped itself. And that's when Martha Kent. Martha Kent is watching the explosion happen, and then it's nighttime, and she's taking out the trash in the back, and that car comes and they snatch her up, and then it just cuts straight to armored Batman, and I was like,
Yeah.
what?
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And then in that scene, we see that cool scene where he's like underground looking up, and he's holding that mysterious whatever the hell he was holding in the trailer, and we see it was a sphere, and then he slams it to the ground. Then it cuts to him turning on the bat signal, and I was like, what the fuck is going, like, where did this come from? Like, and so that scene, like, it literally, I sat up and was looking around, waiting for other people to look at me going, well, the movie just skipped itself, and I was the only one apparently, but it really threw me for a loop. That editing was just, and even different parts of the movie was not very good, honestly.
See, the whole training sequence with Bruce Wayne, they totally could have just thrown in like one scene or two of him building the armored suit. Like, he just shows up in the armored suit. Like, what the hell is up with that?
Like, because we don't know if he'd use it before, if he'd made it specifically for or Superman, but I've seen the movie twice now, and I have a very big pick with the movie, and that is there is not enough tension, there's not enough build-up to the big fight. There's not enough tension between Batman and Superman. There's personal tension between Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, personally and separately. Even then, I don't really buy it, but there's not enough tension there because and I related it to The Force Awakens, when the big spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Force Awakens, but God bless your soul. When Han confronts Kylo, and Kylo kills his own father, there wasn't that huge emotional punch that they were going for because there wasn't that seed planted earlier in the film. Han had only seen Kylo carrying off Rey, but there wasn't that tension between the father and son, between evil and darkness, where that paid off eventually. So, and I find that the big problem with this film is Lois Lane. Not
Really?
the character, not the performance, and it's the Lois Lane and the bullet plot. Because it's meaningless. It's pointless. It means nothing.
Yeah, did it even lead to anything? I don't even really remember.
It led to Lois knowing Lex was in on something.
Right. I think what it did lead to was that Lois knew that Lex knew who Superman was, if I remember correctly. She kind of had that revelation that he knew Superman was Clark Kent.
Yeah, from what I'm remembering now, I feel like now that you guys say it, it just seems like that whole plot was just so Superman could catch her after Lex pushed her off the building.
Yep. And what did I'm sorry, what did well, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. But
all good.
And there's like 4 scenes specifically dedicated to this subplot. There is the scene in Africa, which I did not like. And then Superman goes off, hits this guy, and then we're told in the court that there was a killing afterwards, and people are blaming Superman for this killing that we never saw, because what we saw was this plot, like Lois Lane decided to go off and be the damsel in distress when she knows damn well not to. Like, just because you have Superman as your man, like, it's really taken. She didn't consider she took like advantage of the fact that he is Superman. I feel like, oh, he'll save me because he is and he can. And like there was that scene. There was a scene on the her and the Colonel are sitting in the bridges in the background. They're watching the river. Talk about the bullet. There's a scene where it's raining and there's shadows in the background, and she's talking to the Colonel again about the bullet. There's a scene when she's asking Perry White. Nobody can trace the bullet. Like it just goes nowhere, and you can feel you could take that out, and I feel you could fill that spot where we needed more of the Bruce building the suit. We needed another confrontation between Batman and Superman.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, definitely.
And that's like I said, the same with Force Awakens. We needed another confrontation between Han and Kylo.
I don't know. I feel like there was enough there. You had Bruce and Clark and their whole little disagreement at Lex's party. Then you had the first confrontation between Batman and Superman. You know, the "Do you bleed?" And then it all leads up to this fight. You know, I thought that yes, the tension between the two of them wasn't there, but I feel that the tension between Bruce and Batman against Superman was there, because Superman really never had anything against Bruce. Maybe he had some problems with Batman. He didn't really like the way Batman did things, but he never had this like, listen, I freaking hate you, dude. We're gonna fight, you know? Like, he never really had that, especially at the end. He was like, listen, my mom's in danger. I need your help, man. So it was all kind of
I did like
Bruce.
that, yeah.
It was all kind of Bruce and just this animosity that he has towards Superman because of what happens in the events of Man of Steel, which I thought was a fantastic opening to this movie, was seeing Bruce in the events of Man of Steel. Because just like we thought when we watched Man of Steel, is like, there has to be some consequences here. You know, buildings are crashing down, people are dying, you know, like, and we see that in this film. We see Bruce was there, and people that he knows, you know, and he cares about died. You know, he saved this little girl, her mom died, you know, like, there's some messed up things that happens, and you get it right away from the beginning. If you're asking me, at least, why Bruce and why Batman hates Superman, and maybe it just isn't the other way around, and that kind of takes away from the tension, but I feel that it was well done, if you're asking me.
Yeah, and see, they should have played off the fact that the events did happen and people were killed, and that's why Batman was mad. But they kept trying to show you the fact that these people in Africa die. They brought it up about 2 or 3 other times in the movie, and they tried to make that the I don't want to say overall reason, but a big proponent into why he does these things and why the people don't like him is because this thing in Africa happened. And keep going on, I guess. I didn't really buy into the whole Scoot McNairy legless man little subplot.
Oh, you didn't feel that one?
Hey, was I the only one that like kind of flipped out when he was like, "What do they call you, Wally?" And I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I did too. I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Oh my god, is this actually happening right now?" And then his name was like Wallace Keith or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Sweet Wally," and they were like, "Wallace Keith." I was like, "Oh, okay, well, that's that."
I don't know. I just feel like they could have, in place, put that in with the fact that, like, I don't know. It just there's a lot of things that just bug me about this. The reason everybody dislikes Superman and Holly
Hunter?
Listen, okay, that grandma's peach piss thing, I thought that was stupid.
Really?
I didn't really get it. I didn't really get it the
insane.
first time.
I love that. I love the entire courthouse scene when the whole thing blows up, because like I was like, oh my goodness, this is it. This is like one of the most defining moments for Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. This is going to be the moment where he does something that makes such a huge impact, you know, and he just straight up murders everyone in that entire courtroom without flinching. You know, he even killed his own assistant. He killed Mercy Graves, and he didn't even care. Like, I thought that was like a good moment for Lex Luthor, and especially when you kind of put everything together. You know, she looks in the empty seat. She sees the peach tea. I don't know why it was, though, the little peach tea that got her so nervous. You know, like, was it like...
I mean, I got the joke and I got what it was doing, but it seems like a little too much.
Yeah, I get what you're talking about.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me think. Despite what people were saying about Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman, I didn't think her acting was phenomenal.
It wasn't.
But
Definitely.
it wasn't. But she did good, and I'm like, even like Josh said, that like it just gets me excited about the Wonder Woman movie. And when she showed up was the only time the whole theater cheered.
Yep.
Like, nobody cheered when they saw Batman the Armored Suit. Wonder Woman, it was. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but it was badass. It was badass.
She did well with what they gave her. Like I said, they didn't give her a whole lot, but like I mean, they gave her what she had, and she did the best she could.
So I think besides the I don't know if the Superman dying was a real necessity. I don't even know if Doomsday was a real necessity. Overall, I just felt there should have been more focus on the Batman and Superman rather than setting the ground for the future Justice League films.
Okay, Andrew. All right. So you know my negative, right? Of the movie. My very important negative. We were talking about it last night, I think.
Remind me again.
I don't want to say it because it's the ending. It's the ending.
Yeah,
we're in the spoiler territory.
Yeah.
Okay.
But is that your negative?
Yeah. But I can just kind of go over some of mine because I'll just go off what a few of you guys said already.
All right. Yeah. Go for it.
The editing, yes. The editing, pacing in the first half an hour or so just seemed like they just threw scenes in just such random places. Like, I mean, especially like Bruce's nightmares. they just kind of came out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
especially the I call it the Mad Max scene, with the dark side tease. The thing is, that scene was so epic that I sort of kind of forgave it, but it just came out of nowhere. You're like, why is Bruce in a desert? And
I freaking loved the nightmare sequence.
It was really well done. I liked it.
Listen, it's
okay,
random.
I'm sorry.
It comes out of nowhere, and I have a billion questions about it. But god damn, was it cool?
I mean,
The
seeing those
flash
parodies.
I just
and
wanna-
everything.
I just want to ask a quick question. So, it starts when he's like his eyes are open. So, was it a dream? Was it a vision, or was it a pass out?
I think I honestly think it was like some kind of like peek into the future given by the Flash. 'Cause I think that's why the Flash appears at the end, where he was just like, you were right about him. Lois is the key. You have to find us. Then he goes, "Am I late? Oh, I think I'm late." And he just leaves.
Yeah.
I honestly think that was like somehow the Flash gave Bruce the ability to look into the future and see what will happen if he does not fight Superman,
Yeah.
or if he doesn't
it was
save Lois or whatever.
I'm sorry, Andrew, I'm getting you, but what was that? Because Martha was the one that needed saving. Other than Lewis falling off a building, she was fine.
Well,
What was it
that's
about
why.
saving
Who knows
Lewis
what's gonna
that
happen
needed?
come Justice League time? Is Lois gonna have? Is she gonna have the point where she almost dies? Is there gonna be something like that? All I know is I have my own specific explanation of it, which I'm saving because I'm planning to do like a big video about it. But all I know is it's definitely not some sort of dream. It's a vision. Guaranteed, it's a vision. There's no way someone has a dream about the Omega symbol and the Flash and these parademons and all this stuff happening, and it's just a dream. He's just so spot on about these aliens that live millions of miles away from the Earth. No, it's a vision in some sense of the way, and it's something that the Flash does that allows him to see this vision. All I know is that seeing the Flash show up with this weird, cool armored suit and this helmet lifting off of him, and he's just
I need to see that.
Oh,
again.
Did anybody else think it was Red Hood for a second?
oh my
I
god.
did.
No, I was pretty
I
sure
looked
as,
into his eyes.
as soon as I saw the lightning and everything, and I heard Ezra's voice. I mean, hell, even seeing that, I'm almost sold on the casting of Ezra Miller as the Flash just from seeing
Yep.
that. It was honestly such a good moment, especially seeing it in IMAX and seeing that whole screen filled head to toe with this greatness. Just beautiful, just beautiful.
Okay, hold on, wait. I'm sorry. I just want to finish the negatives before we talk about positives because I'm about to
Well, I still have a few I'd like to talk about.
Andrew, you finish.
Oh.
Andrew, you finish your negatives.
yeah.
Or Josh, whoever was going.
Okay. I kind of agree with what you guys had said earlier, so I'm not going to go over some of the Batman killing, the no build up. The one thing that I actually didn't like was Superman.
Really?
I just did not.
As a character, or
I
what?
just did not feel anything for him in this movie, which is weird because he spends the entire movie just getting ripped apart by everyone. And
Yeah.
the only scene that I actually felt something for him was in the Senate, and when
Yeah,
it blew up,
I
and
agree.
you see his face, and he's just he looks so defeated that they could pin this on him too. So
And he's the only one that gets to walk out alive. I could see that in his face.
Exactly.
He kind of hates the fact that that's real.
yeah, and yeah, so I liked Clark Kent way more than I like Superman in this one. Yeah, and like you guys said, the no build up really, the armored Batman coming out of nowhere essentially.
I don't know about you guys though. I thought the fight was good. I thought it was satisfying.
That was okay.
I mean,
It was.
See, here's
I don't know
here's
if I
how
really
I
like the
see
Martha
it.
thing.
Here's how I see it. Imagine they didn't show Doomsday in the trailer. How much more disappointed would you be in that fight between Batman and Superman? Not knowing that a Doomsday was coming or anything like that, and seeing that it was over in that short amount of time, wouldn't you have been much more disappointed rather than knowing, okay, there's still a third act here where they're going to fight Doomsday, So they got to wrap up this fight between Batman and Superman sometime.
I feel like it was a little too short and should have been more philosophical, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, I mean, like Lex said, this is God versus man, and I guess really this has to do with the build-up. I just didn't feel it was deep enough tension. I'm sorry. I'm building this up.
I love the fight. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, the part when
It was cool.
when Superman starts regaining his strength and Batman's like beating him, and then his punches slowly start doing absolutely nothing. I was like freaking out. It was so good. There are plenty.
Yeah,
of,
I think that was my favorite part in the
moments.
fight.
There are plenty of like crazy moments when he freaking roundhouse kicks him onto the glass and stomps on him. That's something we saw in the trailer though. But like, God, I thought it was a great fight.
Mm-hmm. Andrew, did you finish your negatives yet?
Well, I'll just talk about the fight actually, because
okay.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It looked epic for sure, but in a movie titled Batman vs Superman, it wasn't really long, and it really ended a lot. I just didn't like it. I just don't know how to explain it. I thought it could have been a little longer, and it seemed like Superman was just getting his butt handed to him. And I don't know. I guess I would have liked it to be a little bit more even.
I can see that, yeah.
And maybe that's just because I wanted Superman to win.
It definitely could have been Zod versus Superman, like type of length in terms of their fight. It could have taken up the whole second act, them fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which it should have just been Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked the Dawn of Justice of it though. I liked the
I like
setup to
that.
the Justice League.
I feel like, but like those cameos, I feel like you could have done well with those.
I thought they did really well.
Like if you took out Doomsday and just did with what you had, I think. Doesn't mean you wouldn't have Wonder Woman in that third act. Or maybe you did somehow. Maybe she like shows up and then a threat. I agree with Andrew.
Anyway, that's my negatives.
I have a very huge negative that none of you touched on. I'm actually very surprised.
Wait, we didn't.
But I'm. What?
Is it our
Josh, your big one.
Okay. Oh, actually, I'm gonna start with the little ones and kind of just work my way up to the big one. The heck was that?
He's like, Isaac.
I was like, man, I'm trying to like
Man,
piece it all
I
together.
do that all the time when I'm trying to describe something that I'm stressed. I'm like,
Okay, so like I said, I really enjoyed Batman in the movie, but one of the complaints that I have is like we didn't have a whole lot of Batman like being Batman, and I'll explain one of the major reasons why I'm saying that. So when Bruce finds out like where the Kryptonian rock is, and that it's being transported to I think it was like LexCorp or like some kind of division of Lex's corporation. He's chasing him down, and then he ends up not getting it because Superman gets in the way, right? Then he goes back to the Batcave, and he realizes where it's at, and we realize he made it to the destination. It cuts to some some other scene that I don't remember, and then moments later, it completely clicks over to Lex going to that place and seeing bullets and everything, glass is broken, and it's gone. Why didn't they show that? We were invested. We've been watching Batman go not out of his way, but we were watching Batman do his best to try to get this rock, and then we don't see it. It's just left out of the movie.
I'm telling you, man, blame Lewis and the bullets.
You know what? Like, I'm just thinking about it now. I think probably my biggest complaint about this movie is a lot of stuff got cut out and put into that Ultimate Edition.
It really, I honestly think that portion is going to be. I am telling
you, come time for what is it, July 16th that it got announced that Blu-ray is coming out. Come July 16th, when a lot of people get to see that 3-hour version of Batman v Superman, you're going to see a lot more positive word of mouth about the film. It's going to be very similar to something like the Daredevil director's cut when that film came out, like 10-something years ago. The director's cut is actually a good movie, and when you look at the original cut that was released theatrically, it was terrible, and that might be something that the critics see the same here with Batman v Superman. There's a lot missing from this movie that I think was probably added into that director's cut.
That portion in both showings really frustrated me, because I was just like, why didn't they show that? We only saw Batman in the beginning when we first saw him. The second time was when
Awesome, by the way.
Oh yeah, the second time, definitely that. Yeah, that was really cool. It was like a little horror movie kind of like inspiration. I really enjoyed that. The second time was I guess you can technically count the nightmare sequence, which was beautifully shot, by the way. Especially if you saw it in IMAX, like when he looked over and you saw like the Omega symbol and like the fire and stuff.
Yeah. It
looked really good. And then I think the third time was when he was fighting Superman, and then at the end when they're fighting Doomsday.
The rain.
I wanted to see like more of like Batman being sneaky, being like doing his detective work, hacking into doors, taking out guys silently, but obviously he didn't take them out silently because they were shooting up the place. But I mean, I just really wanted to see that. And the biggest complaint that I have with this movie, and I've seen it twice and I just cannot get over it. I do not like the whole death of Superman thing at all. I honestly feel like they did that way too soon. I feel like if they would have just had him fight Doomsday and I guess quote unquote kill him, because we know Doomsday can't really die, that would have been fine. But having him like sacrifice himself to kill Doomsday, I kind of get why they did it. But now that's another thing they have to worry about when come Justice League. They're trying to build. They're trying to build a team.
So I think that similarly to how they opened this film, where it was just like the first 5 minutes was Bruce's parents dying and everything, just a quick little introduction to this new Batman. They could do the same with Justice League. The first 2 minutes of the opening introduction to Justice League could just be Superman's return, and like a bunch of press taking pictures. He's got the long hair or something, and then you just get right into it. At least that's what I would do if I was directing the film, but I'm not Zack Snyder.
I thought about that, but then I also remembered when Perry White opened the newspaper, it also said Clark Kent's dead. So how are they going to be like, oh, excuses on the show up? Hey guys, surprise, I'm not dead. Like what? Now it's conflicting in my opinion. I feel like now you've kind of you've created this very large, unnecessary plot point in the movie that didn't need to be there.
I guess I can see where you're coming from now. It is true.
Yeah, because now what is Superman supposed to come back and then Clark Kent is no longer a person? Yeah.
Well, you know what? What's cool about that is because, listen, if you're gonna buy into Batman being a thing and Superman being a thing, just buy into the fact that Superman can be his alter ego is just him with glasses on. Just shut up and buy into it. But the fact that they don't really have to worry about that anymore makes me kind of happy. At least I don't think they have to worry about that anymore. Because, like you said, Clark Kent is dead. I
don't know, but it'd be kind of weird. I mean, at least to me, I can't speak for anybody else. But having Superman and not having Clark Kent would just be kind of just I don't know, because Clark, I don't know what I said. Clark Kent is a very important part of Superman. It's like who he is when he's just, buying fruit or whatever, and without that, it's just Superman, obviously. But I don't know, that really, really, really bugged me.
But think about it this way. When it comes to the Justice League, what's going to be more important, Superman or Clark Kent? When it comes to the
we don't know what the plot of the movie is, though. I don't know. I mean, of course, Superman's going to play a very important part because he is who he is. He's the Man of Steel. He's Superman. But I'm talking about like down the line, after Justice League, or Justice League Part 1. I'm guessing there has to be a Clark Kent in there somewhere. I don't know how they're going to bring both of them back without explaining, oh yeah, now Clark Kent's back. Well, then wait a second, now Superman's back. And maybe people get smart and they put 2 and 2 together and realize that Clark Kent is Superman or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like with a subtitle like Dawn of Justice, I feel like the movie should have ended on a little bit of a higher note. You're trying to bring about the Justice League. Where was the Dawn of Justice, We saw the cameos, and the cameos were really cool. I enjoyed them. But aside from that, it was just kind of just, they were just there,
Yeah. I also just thought of another one, and that's when Lois throws the kryptonite spear down the water, and then has to go back and get it. And there's the damsel in distress, and Superman has to save her. I was just you were throughout the whole movie, you were just too much for this man. You're more trouble than more help.
Tell me I wasn't the only one that was half expecting Aquaman to come out of the water.
Aquaman, yeah,
with the spear.
Dude, I
did.
Thought that.
I was banking.
Can you imagine he did that and then he joins the fight against Doomsday?
That's what I was expecting. Yeah, because I think this is. I mean, this may be me more of my fault, but I guess reading the rumors of, the Flash is going to appear during the fight, and then, like, Green Lantern's going to show up, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's going to be, like, super cool. And then when none of that happened, I was just like, oh, I mean, obviously the rumors were wrong,
I
but
don't
I'm
know,
just...
though. If that would have happened, that would have almost, like, upset me, because then you're really shoehorning these characters into the movie. I liked the cameos and the way that they were handled, because, like, somebody was, Lex Luthor had these files on all these people. He's been doing research on all these other metahumans, and he has all these videos that they exist, And we just got to see a little exploration of that, and that was it. We got this little taste. We wanted more, but we didn't get it. I'm glad about that, because, there's going to be that time. There's going to be that time where we're going to see the Flash in action. We're going to see Aquaman in action, Green Lantern, all those characters. We're going to see them sometime soon in the near future. If we got that all in Batman v Superman, then it's like, what's the point? What's the point of Justice League and everything? Like, that's the culmination to everything. That's where we see the team come together. Because I was also half expecting, at the end of Batman v Superman, we'd probably see the entire Justice League lined up, ready to go. But I'm glad we didn't, because then we can get that moment in Justice League.
See, my reasoning for why I wanted that was because you have Doomsday, who I'll get to in a second. I don't even think he should have been in the movie. I feel like they should have replaced him with somebody else. But if you have Doomsday, who's destroying of course the place was abandoned, but destroying this section of a city, why aren't they coming to help? They've already established that the Flash exists out there, and I mean, maybe even just the Flash, because we know that maybe Aquaman isn't too fond of like the surface world right now, so maybe that's why he didn't come. But I just feel like maybe having the Flash show up, and I don't know, maybe Bruce and Barry had like a discussion after the fight was over, kind of discussing. And he was like, yeah, you're the one who came to me in the dream, or something along the lines of that. I feel like that would have been a better ending. That way, they're just like, okay, all right, since you. Like, you need to help me find, like, everybody else like you. Like him, Diana, and Bruce go out and find the rest of the Justice League. And I feel like that would have been a cooler ending than having Superman die. And then they're kind of just like... And then Bruce is just like, I have to find everyone else like you. Gotta bring them together and fight. Why?
I think
just
a
hunch
you had
I
it on
have.
the nose, though, with why someone like Aquaman wouldn't end up coming to help the fight. He's kind of his own dude. He's gonna be like what Black Panther is in Civil War. He's really
just neutral.
He's not about the whole team thing. I'm surprised that they made Batman so about teaming up. Like, he's always this guy who just doesn't really trust people. But someone like the Flash is not gonna go up against Doomsday. What is he gonna do? Run around?
Who knows? I mean, we like, even in that surveillance footage, we saw he is incredibly fast, faster than Grant Gustin's Flash on the CW. Who knows what kind of powers he has,
But you don't know if he has a suit.
Right. We don't know if
he's active yet.
Okay, I can see that.
You're wrong, Josh.
Idiot. Okay.
But if you're a hero, like, that shouldn't matter, I mean, we don't know how long he's been acting as the Scarlet Speedster. But, I mean, if you're a hero, should it really matter? He's like, oh, man, a city's getting destroyed, man. I can't go out, man. I got sweatpants on.
Josh, you gonna put on a hoodie and toboggan and just run out there?
Heck yeah, I would.
Sir, you better get some scale and armor.
Heck yeah, I'd freaking do that. I'm serious, man. I'll get my skinny jeans and my hoodies, man. I can just go out and do stuff.
To go fight a giant raging monster.
That's right.
Sounds like a plan, my friend.
try to do like a cartwheel and my pants split. Like, oh no! End up falling. But yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I just feel like the Flash would have been interesting for him to show up. But I mean, like I said, it's not a huge deal. But that's something that I would like to see. All right, now that we've gotten the negatives out of the way, there were actually a lot more than I thought. Let's move on to the positives. And Ander, we will start with you, buddy.
All right. Well, I mentioned it earlier, so I'll just start there. Ben Affleck as Batman. He was phenomenal. And I'll admit, I hated the casting when it first came out. I remember it was pretty quickly when they announced that Ben Affleck would be Batman and Jesse Eisenberg would be Lex Luthor. It was about that at that point where I was about ready to say, like, the DCU is pretty much a joke at this point.
Damn, man. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I was rough.
Damn,
I
Daniel.
was critical back then. Thank God that changed. But
Oh yeah.
he was awesome. And that scene where you see him, you follow those police officers, and he's beating up and branding that guy up in the upstairs. That scene was actually creepy. Like, I mean, it was tense.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
so good.
I was like,
Yeah, it
that's
was.
Batman. Like, I just love that scene.
And the way he just flew out of there, like,
Ex-
whoa. you
Yeah,
know,
he
like,
was
stuff in
fast.
nightmares, man.
he was. So yeah, Ben Affleck was great. Seeing the Trinity on screen together was amazing. The cameos, obviously Aquaman was my favorite.
Yeah.
And then all the dark side teases were just, I loved them. The Omega symbol, the parademons, and even Lex Luthor mentioning that the bell had been rung and that he was coming.
Was he talking about Darkseid
Just-
when he was saying that?
I want it to be Brainiac because I feel like they should save Darkseid, but if from piecing the nightmare sequence and Lex getting the knowledge from the Kryptonian ship, I kind of think it's gonna end up being Darkseid.
Especially, I mean, the way he did say it, like the bell's been rung and he is coming, and then it
He was like
cuts
he's
to-
hungry or whatever.
It cuts to his painting and how he flipped it and everything.
Mhm.
It does. I guess it does mean that he somehow knows about Darkseid, or someone, whatever the villain might be for Justice League, and he knows that person is coming.
Well, he could know so many just with the Kryptonian archives.
That's
that, were on that ship.
that is so true. I totally didn't even take that in mind.
Yeah, it could be anyone.
Oh my god. Ah,
It literally could be
I'm still
anyone.
learning stuff, and oh god, I need to see this movie again now.
So yeah, I mean, it's good that they left it open, so it's like it could be anyone. It doesn't even have to be Darkseid, but yeah, just that. I guess just seeing the Trinity was really the biggest moment for me. Just for DC fans, that's just like a dream come true, seeing them all together on screen.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So, what about you guys?
It was great. I mean,
Caboose?
you guys have already heard most of my positives, especially being just the entire nightmare sequence was just out of this world. It was so good, and mainly, at least for me, because I had so many questions. I don't know about you guys, but I like a little bit of mystery behind a movie, you know? I
Mhm.
like
I do too.
that this movie just didn't end on a closed book, you know? There were still so many things that I want to figure out. And I'm sure even critics that might not have liked the movie, my brother included, my brother did not like Batman v Superman. He found it to be a big letdown, but he's still super hyped for Justice League because of how many questions that are still yet to be answered about the film.
That's so. I know. Isn't that weird though? Like that seems to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just like the Flash thing was so good for me. The entire nightmare sequence was so good for me. For the most part, Ben Affleck's Batman is just phenomenal. You know, his Bruce Wayne is on point, and Henry Cavill definitely stepped it up as Superman this time around.
Definitely.
But yeah, for me, the two shining moments of this film was Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I mean, Gal Gadot just kicks ass as Wonder Woman, and Jesse Eisenberg is just a freaking creep as Lex Luthor.
He is
pretty
creepy.
Pretty much
Oh,
the
man.
whole last act, he is so good. That entire speech that he gives Superman when they're on the rooftop of one of his LexCorp buildings about God bowing down to him now, I was like, whoa, this is good.
Oh, he said God
Yeah,
bends
yeah,
to
Yeah,
my will.
he said God bends to my will
And,
now.
and he
Yeah.
had this one line, something about God being all powerful, and if he was all powerful, then he's not God or
Not-
something.
Yeah,
Not all
yeah,
good.
yeah. He said, yeah, he was
Yeah, he
like,
said if he's not all powerful, he's not all good. If he's all good, then he's not. all
Yeah,
There you go.
that was
Something like
such a good line.
That was a really good
Such
line.
a good line. Oh my
And
goodness.
those pictures.
Casey,
of,
DM me
Martha.
that because I'm tweeting it after we're done recording this. Yeah, no, Jesse Eisenberg just so solid as Lex Luthor, and a lot of people are comparing him to the Joker for some reason, like he was trying to pull off a Joker. I don't see it at all.
Nah.
At all. Honestly, I don't see any of the mannerisms or anything that the Joker represents from Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. I just liked him. He was diabolical. He was like a mad scientist. You know, his creation of Doomsday was crazy. A lot of the stuff that he was doing there was awesome. His score was fantastic. Might I mention the entire score in this film was
definitely
so
it was
good. I mean,
I liked it more than Man of Steel.
I mean, the score in this film is pretty much 99% of the reason that Wonder Woman's arrival was so damn good is because
Dude, her
that
theme
guitar
is
kicks in.
on point.
Oh my
love
god,
that.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it. But yeah, I'm so glad because the one thing that I did is I didn't want to listen to the score at all. I wanted to be my viewing of this film, my first listen to the score, and
I did too,
so glad I did that.
I couldn't do it. I failed.
The score in this film is just breathtaking. Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer need to do more work together because they just did a phenomenal job with Batman v Superman track. But yeah, I like this movie through and through. I admit there are flaws. It's not a perfect movie, but as a comic book fan, as someone who knows these characters and the history behind them, you can't sit here and say that you hated it. And I definitely didn't hate it.
Yeah. I guess my positives kind of echo your guys's, especially Ben Affleck's Batman. I didn't have too big of a problem of him killing, because I don't know, I just thought of like the Dark Knight Returns when he's fighting the Joker and the Sword Negro goes like no more, and he's kind of just done. I guess I feel like that's where this Batman was at. Did anybody catch that little Easter egg after like the Wayne Tech building fell and he was like in the smoke and the horse like rides by him? Yeah, and I was like, because I had watched the Dark Knight Returns prior to going to the movies, so I immediately saw it and I was like, oh, cool, like there's like the horses, like him and they're riding the horses and stuff. I just thought that was really
lots
cool.
of little subtle nods to the Dark Knight Returns, especially the Superman when he's in space and he's like just completely drained of his power.
Wait, that was on the. I think I missed that part. What was that?
The part when the
nuked.
nuke hits Superman and Doomsday in space, and then Superman's body is all like lifeless, and then he gets the power from the sun and he regains his energy.
Okay. I know what you're talking about. It was just different. I think it was different in the.
It
Dark
was
Knight
different
Returns,
in the
he
comic
like touched
book.
a sunflower. Or
Yeah,
something
he
like
touched
that?
sunflowers because they get their energy from the sun, and that's how he got his powers back. But it was similar. It was the imagery was the same.
Yeah. Did anybody else catch like a little? I think it was like a DC Universe like online kind of thing, when like Superman's floating in there, and then his eyes like when he opens up his eyes, they're red, and he just zooms into Earth. I was like, dude, that looked like DC Universe Online. At least I think it was DC. I think it was like the opening cinematic. For it. Yeah, that was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The cameos. Surprisingly, my favorite cameo was actually Cyborg's.
I agree.
Was that like a mother box, just like some kind of like weird like technology that like went onto his body?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on there, but it was freaky.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I don't really know. I'm not well versed in the knowledge of like mother boxes and like all that like super intricate like details, but that's the first thing that popped into my head because it was a box, and I don't know.
Because it was a box.
Yeah, it was a box. I was like, mother box. I don't know that for a fact, but I just, it's not a negative, I guess, per se, but like Aquaman's cameo was kind of weird. Like his eyes were like super cool, but he was kind of just like floating there, and like his eyes were like squinting, almost like it just seems like it was just a guy like underwater and not like somebody who lives in the ocean.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just
He
kind
was
of
holding his breath. That's obviously, since he's human, obviously he's gonna hold his breath. But to give that illusion that he's Aquaman and that he can breathe underwater, they're gonna have to figure something out, because it clearly looked like Momoa was holding his breath.
Was underwater, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I get what you mean.
yeah.
I feel like he was looking at, like, getting to the camera, like, all right, back up.
Back up.
And it started backing up, and he's like moving a little forward, and he's like, all right, whatever, and just straight up just stabs the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that the whole Trinity shot of them, getting ready to fight Doomsday. It was really cool. I've been waiting for that ever since I watched the Justice League animated series. I was just like, these are my favorite characters, my favorite DC characters ever, and like they're all just like about to fight this giant monster who I think should have been a Mazo. I don't know. I feel like that would have been a better fit.
Mason would have been cool.
Yeah, I feel like Mazo would have been a fantastic villain for this movie, and save Doomsday for like Man of Steel 2 or 3 or however you view Dawn of Justice. Yeah, Lex was fantastic. I liked Superman. I actually kind of felt bad for him while he was getting his ass handed to him by Batman. He just looked like he was in pain. I was like, let up on him a little bit, but just keep hurting him. I don't know. I just didn't. Felt kind of bad for him. But all in all, the movie is a very good movie. Definitely has its flaws. Definitely has things that I would change or would leave out or even put in. But it's nowhere near the catastrophe that some of these critics are claiming it to be.
No, absolutely. That was a question that I wanted to ask you guys. So, I believe it was it Casey or Ander who said that they weren't too fond of Man of Steel, or did you guys both like it? Ander, so you didn't really like Man of Steel. Do you think Batman v Superman is better than Man of Steel?
Oh yeah.
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 So
I do.
I'm assuming that you'd say that the critic rating is not what it deserves.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as they're saying it is.
Now, here's the thing that I wanted to say, okay? Because a lot of people are online, and a lot of people are going after these critics. And granted, I will not deny that there are some critics out there, not that I'm going to name any names, but there are some critics out there who were ready to just not like the movie. They had this predetermined idea that the movie was going to be bad. And they knew that going in, and they were expecting it going out. So there are some critics that are like that. There are some critics that are just completely biased. They didn't want to like the movie, and they were going to hate it regardless of its quality. But to anyone listening, to anyone who feels this way, critics are not going after us, all right? This movie is not a film for critics. This is a comic book movie for comic book fans, plain and simply put. End of story. Zack Snyder said it himself. He is a comic book guy. That is how he directs these movies, and that's just how they're made. That's why when you look at Watchmen, it's pretty much a one-to-one adaptation of the graphic novel. You look at a film like 300, pretty much a one-to-one adaptation of the graphic novel. Zack Snyder is a comic book fan who makes comic book movies for comic book fans. He doesn't make it for these critics, and granted, maybe that's not how it should have been. Maybe he should sit down, pay attention a little more to the filmmaking aspect of these movies, but it is what it is, and as a comic book fan myself, I love the movie, but I can understand that most critics weren't going to be a fan of it. So, to anyone listening, no critics are after us or out to get us or anything like that. It's just, as a film, it has many flaws. So, that's my little rant.
Can I go now? Can I go with my positive?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to run through these. Bruce Wayne, Batman, Ben Affleck. What is more to be said? I mean, the nightmare scene, the saving Martha scene.
Yes. No.
The scene where he's saving Martha. I mean, it was just so cool to see it, and the choreograph and the way they filmed it. Though I would love a little more longer takes. I'm okay with what we got because I thought it was super, super cool. Talk about that little horror aspect when the very beginning where he's just this huge guy in the corner of a room upstairs and the cops just, shit, and starts to look over, and like you see him like that guy is humongous. Like,
he was like over just like posted up in the side, and they started blowing up at him.
Yeah, like they called him the devil, and they weren't going back up there, even though they said he had saved them. Oh god, let me see. I liked his portrayal of Batman and Bruce Wayne, though I didn't find Bruce Wayne very, very likable. I mean, it's still good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as likable as I think it could have came across. That's okay.
But he put on a good facade, like even the scene
he really did.
in Lex's house when he sees a pretty girl, like pretty girl, bad habit,
Just the way he uses his eyes and his acting, you could see what was going on inside, and that's something you really need, I guess, in an actor portraying someone like a very disturbed Batman. The thing with the killing, like, does nobody remember The Dark Knight? I mean,
he was straight up murdering people
in The Dark Knight. Like I'm talking about The Dark Knight with Christian Bale. Like, do you remember the tumbler smashing that 18-wheeler up into the ceiling? Like, hello. Like,
he also killed Talia.
Listen, I totally get where people are coming from. Like Tim Burton's Batman killed, The Dark Knight Batman killed as well. But even when it comes to those, I'd say Tim Burton's less so than The Dark Knights. But with the Dark Knight Batman, it's like a lot of the kills are like almost like you can make a loophole out of them. It's like, oh, okay, well, we never saw anyone die. With this one, he's straight up blowing up cars that people are inside of. He's dropping cars onto other ones. He blew up a dude at the end. Hell, freaking KG Beast is dead, and we're not even gonna get him in like a solo Batman movie. So like he was straight up.
Wait, was that
murdering.
KG Beast?
Yeah, it was KG Beast.
I had no idea. you just seem like a Russian bad guy. I was like, oh, okay.
What's KG Beast's name in the comics? Anatoly, whatever.
Kanayev or something.
Yeah, that was the guy's name.
Oh, okay.
But you pointed out earlier, like Alfred kind of said it himself, like the feeling of powerlessness turns good men cruel. And when you watch when he says turns good men cruel, he actually looks him up and down like, I'm talking about you, Bruce Wayne. He's like, I'm serious. The second time I looked at it, it's like he eyes him up and no. But it makes sense for him to feel like that and to go, okay, they're bad guys. I need to get this rock. Like this rock is going to be, in terms of what Lex Luthor said, the silver bullet. Like, but to him, it's like I'm going to put an end to this god. So for him to go, I'm imagining like they're bad guys. They're in my way. They're bad anyway. Let's just get them out of the way to begin with because I need this rock to pretty much save the world and the future of the universe.
I guess I'm just upset that he kills because it kind of ruins the whole Under the Red Hood story. Because that whole story hinges off of Batman not being a killer.
No!
Yeah.
Let's wait. Let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see. But
who knows?
Man.
At the end of the movie, he seems like he has a very different perspective on things. So it could be this movie teaching him a lesson about killing.
That Flash cameo with the nightmare, even though
so
like
good.
him like going to sleep nightmare, whatever. We'll figure it out. But like you said, I thought it was the Red Hood, but man, like that the I guess we'll call it the portal or the hole,
the Speed Force,
Speed Force. Yeah, like I want to see that suit so bad because I didn't get enough good of a look at it because it's there's electricity, there's bolts, but as you realize it's a Flash, like when that ended, everybody started whispering, "Oh my fucking shit! Oh my god!"
Yeah, some dude in my theater was like, "Oh my god!" He was like super amped up. I was like, man.
So that
cool. There were 4 moments in the movie that made my crowd cheer when I watched it on Monday. Number 1 was when we first see all the symbols when Bruce Wayne opens up the archives and you see the Flash's symbol and Aquaman's symbol. Mm-hmm. People went crazy for that. Number 2 was the Flash moment. Number 3 was seeing the Justice League cameos, and then number 4 was Wonder Woman's reveal. But yeah, after that Flash moment, people were like, "Holy shit!"
They were flipping out.
But I love like it's not like the Injustice suit. It's very looks. I'm gonna compare it to Iron Man, just the way his suit opens up. Like,
yeah,
it looked very similar. But so that was cool. I'm glad that was saved for the movie and not spoiled anything. Mm-hmm. Which is also a negative I have for the films. Like the trailers tell you the movie. Other than Superman dying, I feel like the trailers did a very bad job of giving you this movie and what you're in for. Granted, I didn't watch past the first one, but I know people saw them and I watched them now, and I feel like they give away too much. But so the Flash moment, the cameos, some people think it was like a little shoehorned in and forced, but I kind of liked it, man. I did like it. And the fact that Lex had made symbols for. I mean, it just seems Lex and what he would do. I mean,
because he's young and he's hip.
Yeah. And even though I like the portrayal, it seemed a little too over the top for just the movie. I think in general, it was still a good performance, and I'm looking forward to where they take the character next. I'm also glad it wasn't the one and done because that'd have been stupid. So they have a character in the vault now, just saved for later. So the Batman moments were great. Wonder Woman showing up, which was probably one of the funniest moments in the movie when, Batman gets shot down and it's about to get shot and he goes, "Shit."
In that whole Batman voice, he's like, "Dang."
Yeah, shit. Like just getting ready to blow up, and you see Wonder Woman come down and like her theme is the best theme in the movie,
so good.
Along with Lex Luthor's. I cannot recall Batman's.
Batman's is really good. It's very like Dark Knight. Like that's why I really like it.
I need to hear it again, but I can't recall it off memory.
Like with like the drums and stuff, and it was just the kind of like chord progressions that they use in it. It seems very very Dark Knight inspired, and that's why I really, really like his. But Wonder Woman's was really up there.
I really love when the Man of Steel score kicked in, like right towards the end before he went to Doomsday with the spear. I was like,
oh my god. Yeah.
I mean, in the IMAX scenes, they're beautiful. You need to see this in IMAX. Other than that, I mean, the Batmobile scenes, the Batmobile sounds cool. It looks cool. It's huge. It does a lot of damage.
It's like a tank.
It is a tank, dude.
Tank!
It seriously is. I mean, there's a lot of cool things in this movie. Alfred, Jeremy Irons, he did a good job. I hope to see him more involved. And I don't know where they're going to go with that ending, but overall, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I wish I'd enjoyed it more, and I wish that editing, man, it just really threw me for a loop.
Yeah. All right. So now that I want to get these two questions out of the way because I'm very interested to see what you guys say. So we've all voiced our opinions on Batfleck and saying how much we really like him. So I have to ask, is Ben Affleck's Batman better than Christian Bale's? And do you think Batman v Superman will have any effect on Suicide Squad as in story-wise?
yes, I think so.
For what?
Because originally I assumed that Suicide Squad takes place before Batman v Superman, and with that I was like, okay, the little Superman line that Amanda Waller says in the first like Comic-Con trailer, I was like, okay, because the Man of Steel events happen. But now that the Batman v Superman events happen before Suicide Squad takes place, there's a lot more meaning to that line that Amanda Waller says about these people coming out of the shadows because of Superman. So, yeah, and I don't know. I'm just very interested, I guess, to see what Ben Affleck's Batman's going to do in Suicide Squad. I wonder if he's just this killer, why the hell is Joker and Harley Quinn and all these villains still alive?
Yeah, it's the thing, man. It's
Or do they have
context.
the
in context
brands
of
or something?
Doomsday and Kryptonite.
Yeah, I mean, or do they have the brands or something? Because I guess Batman brands people when he knows that they're going to get a life sentence in jail. So, I mean, imagine, that would be really cool if, like, Deadshot and Joker and all these people had the Batman brand on them. I think that'd be pretty cool.
And what about, do you think Ben Affleck's Batman's better than Bale's?
1,000 times yes.
Okay. Good. Very happy to know that.
I think his Batman is better, but I actually like Bale's Bruce Wayne better.
What?
Yeah.
I
can
concur.
see that.
I concur.
Yeah.
I'd say they're both
For now.
on the
For
same
now.
For now, yeah.
I definitely, yeah. I think the Batman was different. It was brutal, but it's such a different take, man, that it's kind of hard to look at the two without going, I like both of these. But definitely a more fun Batman to watch. Definitely more interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I definitely would say that I need to see more of his Bruce Wayne and more Batman. And yeah, definitely.
Andrew, what about you, man?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I liked his Batman was way better than Bale's, but yeah, like I said, I liked Bale's Bruce a lot better. He just kind of came off as more that playboy millionaire. Of course, this could all be because this is Ben Affleck's is a more world-weary Bruce Wayne. He's older. But I guess he's just not like the Bruce Wayne that I'd imagine. But his Batman is Batman. So
Definitely. So I guess before you wrap up today, what would you give if you could rate Batman from 1 being awful?
Let's do 10.
Yeah, from 1 being like really just like you'd rather freaking scoop your eyeballs out with a melon baller.
Doo-doo garbage.
Like doo-doo, like just trash, to 10 as in like you want to marry the film. What would you rate the movie?
You mean 10 as in like Drive?
Please leave. Movie was bad.
What?
I didn't like it. I did not like Drive.
Different conversation.
I'm not going first. Somebody go first. I'm not doing this.
All right, I'll go first since my score is out there. So I'd give it an 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. So I'd commit. You know, like if Batman v Superman asked me to marry it, I'd commit.
You'd give it a promise ring?
Yeah. I'd say like we'll see how the money situation goes, but like here's a ring just in case.
All right, Andrew, what about you, man?
Yeah, mine's pretty close. Mine's an 8 out of 10.
Dang, everybody's stealing my score. Casey?
Look, I liked the movie. I was entertained. Unfortunately, a lot of the negatives weigh. I'm very in the middle with this movie. I can see where the critics have problems, though it does not deserve as harsh, I think. But look, if you love this movie, you win. Like, you love the movie, and that's something you have. And I think people don't, like, you can read reviews, but if you love the movie, then let yourself love it. Or if you like it, and if you don't like it, like, you're right. If you don't like it and you think it's bad, you're right. If you love it and you think it's great, you're right. Like, all film is subjective, and this movie is not for everybody. Let's put that straight.
Definitely, yeah.
But I think people are gonna have a good time. It's very in the middle for me. There's a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. I think I'm set on a good solid
So you're not set.
7, a good
You set?
7, solid
7?
7. And 7, listen, 7 out of 10. That's a good score.
Yeah, it is.
That's a good score. People think like it needs to be an 8 or a 9. Like, look, I wanted to love the movie. I didn't. I had fun. It's great. And like Caboose said, like I'm still excited about. I'm more excited about Wonder Woman. I'm looking forward to Justice League.
Oh my God,
still.
yes.
Despite some of the negative things, like I'm weirdly still excited. So I'm still in. I'm still on board. And Deadpool and Batman v Superman are a good way to start off 2016. There's 4 more movies to go for comic book movies, but I think people are gonna have a good time.
Yeah, we've definitely got a whole lot more DC movies to come, so strap yourselves in. It's gonna be not a bumpy ride. It's gonna be a very interesting ride. Very interesting. Very interested to see where they're gonna be going in the future. Because now we got Suicide Squad coming up next, Wonder Woman, Justice League, and then actually we're just gonna keep going. So yeah. I guess that is the end of our Batman v Superman review. I would like to thank everyone for joining me today. Before we go, I would like to let you find out where you can find these wonderful people at. So, Andrew, where can people find you at?
Hey, I'm on Twitter, at AnderWriter. Yeah, like I said, come by, say hi, ask questions, or just say Aquaman rocks.
This man's a very big fan of Aquaman, if you didn't know.
Whoa.
Very, very big fan.
And you guys talked about Mara last week. I can't believe you.
I knew you were gonna be listening. I was like, he's like probably like sitting there just screaming if we're talking about Mara.
You guys, some friends you are.
Oh my gosh. Caboose, what about you, man? Tell us what you do on YouTube and stuff like that.
Well, surprisingly enough, I've been covering Batman v Superman on my channel since its announcement back at San Diego Comic-Con in 2013. So that's what I've been doing. I got some cool videos coming for Batman v Superman. One that may or may not be about the nightmare sequence. So you can find me on YouTube at Caboose XBL. I also got a Twitter and Instagram. The @ for that is Caboose_XBL. And I also have a Facebook, but I don't do anything there, so like you can like it if you want, but I'm not telling you to.
Okay, awesome. Casey, what about you, man?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at CaseyJCrow, and you can also follow my fan page, The Dark Knight Trilogy, on Instagram. It's at The Dark Knight Trilogy.
Word.
This has been fun. This has been really fun.
Yes, it has.
Yes, it has.
Yes,
I have been just itching to talk spoilers. So
I know.
This was like a venting session for me.
It's like a gas pump. You just wanted to just like talk about it, like and you just let it blow. But yeah, good stuff. You can find me on Twitter at Dark Knight of Rens, 1K for the Dark and the Night. I also run a DC page on Instagram at DCU News. And you can find me on comicdrops.com writing all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today, and we will, I guess, hear from you in the future. Alright guys, later. Peace.